You know that feeling when you're on a website or an app and everything just works? It's effortless. And then there are those other times where it's a total nightmare, right? Well, let's get into that. Because the secret isn't magic. It's actually a blueprint. Today, we're talking all about information architecture.
We have all been there. You're trapped in this digital maze, clicking around with no idea where you're going, just trying to find one simple thing. It really does feel like you're wandering through a building with no signs, doors that lead to brick walls, and rooms that make absolutely no sense.
I mean, have you ever felt truly, deeply lost? You're looking for the Contact Us page, but for some bizarre reason, it's buried under a tab called Company Phylogeny, or you're just trying to buy something, and the checkout button seems to have just, poof, vanished. It is so incredibly frustrating.
Well, here's the thing you have to remember. That frustration, it is not your fault. You didn't fail some secret internet test. No, the product failed you. It was built without a clear plan, without a solid foundation, without good architecture.
And that is where our hero, information architecture, or IA for short, comes into the picture. Just think of it as the master blueprint for any digital space. It's the thoughtful plan that prevents all that chaos and creates clarity before anyone even thinks about writing code or designing a button.
So, what is it really? At its heart, IA is all about organizing, structuring, and labeling everything in a product so that it makes sense to you, so you can find what you need easy peasy. Put it this way, it's the whole process of deciding where everything lives inside an app or a website.
And really, the whole point is to make your life easier. Good IA wants to reduce your cognitive load. That's just a fancy term for the amount of brain power you have to use by making things predictable. It supports your mental model, which is just how you naturally expect something to work.
So why should you care? Well, because good IA is the difference between a product that feels totally intuitive and one that just feels broken. It has a direct line to whether you have a good experience and stick around or just give up and leave. Okay, so how do designers actually make this blueprint? It's not just guesswork, not at all. The whole process is about understanding the people who are actually going to use the product, and it often starts with this really cool technique called card sorting.
Card sorting is honestly a brilliant method. Imagine you're building a house. It's like asking the people who will live there where they think the furniture should go, instead of just deciding for them. It reveals their logic, their mental models. If you get this part wrong, you build a house where the kitchen's in the attic and the front door is hidden in a closet. Sure, it technically functions, but nobody's going to want to live there.
Now, this technique comes in two main flavors. You've got an open card sort, where you're basically giving users a blank slate and asking them to create the categories themselves. That's perfect for a brand new product. On the flip side, a closed card sort gives them the categories already labeled. This is a fantastic way to check if an existing structure actually makes sense to real people.
And the process itself is pretty straightforward. You pick your content, choose your method, open or closed, and then you find people who are just like your actual users. But the real magic, the real secret sauce, happens during the analysis. That's where you dig in and look for the patterns, the common ways people group things, the names they come up with. That's the gold designers use to build the whole structure.
And the result of all that research, it often becomes this: a sitemap. It's basically a visual diagram of the product's entire structure. So, if IA is the blueprint for the house, the sitemap is the skeleton holding it all up. It shows you all the main sections, the pages inside them, and how they all connect to each other.
All right, so once that skeleton is in place, it's time to start thinking about the details. We're moving from the big picture structure to designing the individual rooms, the pages, and, just as importantly, the hallways that connect them. And that's all about navigation.
So inside each one of those rooms, or on every screen, you have something called content hierarchy. This is all about arranging the information so the most important stuff jumps out at you first. It's just like good interior design, right? When you walk into a living room, your eye is drawn to the fireplace or a big window, not some random outlet in the corner.
And designers have a whole bag of tricks to make this happen. They use things like bigger, bolder fonts for headlines. They use empty space to group related items together. And they use color and contrast to make important buttons really pop. It's all designed to guide your eye without you even realizing it.
Now, if hierarchy is about designing the rooms, navigation is the clear signage, the hallways that help you get from one room to the next. Think about a big airport or a hospital. Good signage gives you this feeling of confidence. You know where you are and you know how to get where you need to go.
Bad signage just creates stress.
And you'll find that the best navigation systems all have these things in common. They're predictable, they're simple, and most importantly, they're consistent across the entire product. You shouldn't have to learn a new map for every single page you visit.
And then you have the other side of the coin. These are the classic mistakes that just cause confusion. Menus packed with way too many options, labels that try to be clever instead of clear, or burying important buttons 3 or 4 clicks deep. These are the red flags of bad architecture.
So we've gone through blueprints, skeletons, rooms, and hallways. What does it all really add up to? Well, all of this work serves one ultimate goal: creating a digital space that you actually want to be in. And that brings us to the most important concept of all: findability. It is exactly what it sounds like. How easy is it for you to find what you're looking for? At the end of the day, findability is the ultimate test of a product's information architecture.
This quote right here just says it all, doesn't it? You could have the most incredible article or the most game-changing feature in the entire world, but if nobody can find it, it has zero value. It's like it's not even there.
And achieving that findability means you have to get all the things we just talked about right. It takes a strong overall structure, clear and simple labels, a search bar that actually works, and navigation that's consistent. All these pieces have to work together to make a product feel effortless.
So if you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this: information architecture isn't just a nice-to-have thing. It's not decoration. It is the absolute, non-negotiable foundation of any great user experience. Period.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. The next time you use an app or a website that just feels right, take a second to appreciate that invisible architecture that's holding it all together. And for all the digital products you use every day, maybe ask yourself, is this digital house built on a solid blueprint?
Like, share, and subscribe.